Now, there's, of course, a lot of excitement around the KSTV office today, not only because Kentucky knocked off number 16 Ole Miss last night, but also because joining us now on Skype from Los Angeles, Mark Krebs. We have found him. Mark, how you doing?
How you doing?
For people that don't know, you're out in L.A. Pursuing some acting type things. Tell people that maybe just wondered, thought you disappeared, what you're up to.
Well, I mean, acting-wise, I did sign with an agent, which was really big. I'm actually working on a couple different things with commercials and a TV show. And but the reason, more than anything, I'm working out here for my book that I wrote back a couple years ago. It's now the screenplay is actually moving up the chains. I'm starting to talk to production people and learning how to produce, and I'm starting to kind of go up the charts on that. So that's really exciting. And then I also have created the template or the world of this TV show that I want to start pitching, and it's got a lot of groundwork is already done. So now it's just about pitching and taking meetings, and I'm starting to really enjoy it and make really good headway, I guess, out here in a pretty short amount of time.
Well, we're happy for you. We miss you a lot. We want you to come back, but we're happy that you're doing well. And since you left, Kentucky's had a lot of ups and downs. It's been a while since we talked about the Cats. Last night, though, was a big up. They got a win over number 16 Ole Miss. What'd you make of last night's performance? Or do you feel as good about this team as a lot of fans do?
I do. I feel good about this team. The thing I think fans get a little upset about is that last year Kentucky had a lot of great players. I think this year they have a lot of great freshmen, and I think they play like freshmen. And I said it last year with Marcus Teague, is that when he gets going, it's going to take the team to another level. Well, now you have about 5 guys that need to do that, and I think they're starting to turn the corner. I think when Marcus Teague turned the corner last year, you saw a huge jump up in play with the Cats. And I think this year, with all the players starting to do that, I think last night was just the start of it. I think that their ceiling is so high that you're going to start seeing a lot of really good things from them.
Did you think Kyle Wiltshire had a game like last night in him? Not just where he was scoring, but he was setting hard picks, dunking, just doing everything inside the three-point line and getting buckets there. Did you think Kyle Wiltshire had this in him?
I did. I didn't know that he was I knew he had offensive talent. I don't think that was ever a question. But I didn't know he had the fight in him. I didn't know that he was going to take it upon himself to basically will that team to win last night. I thought he had an amazing game. When Kentucky needed points, he was there to do it. I think hitting threes, he made a couple really good moves inside, quick moves to the basket, which I honestly didn't know he had in his game. I did not know he was going to straight line drive people, stop under the basket, pivot, put in a layup. But he did it, and I think he knew that a lot of the hype was on the other side, the other team, and I think he took a precedent and said, hey, we're Kentucky, we won last year. We're not going to get stomped. We're not going to come in here and get beat like everyone thinks we are. And I think he took it upon himself. And I do think that for Kyle Wiltshire, that was a huge step forward because Kentucky needed to find a leader. And I think last night he was that leader.
Yeah, and he showed that toughness. All of a sudden he's the guy standing up and pushing people and really playing the tough guy role on that team. Coach Cal talked about them wanting his team to play angry earlier in the week, and they did that for the most part last night. Your senior season with Coach Cal, you had guys I think that were like naturally angry on the court. They played with that already. How much can you pull out of guys that are naturally passive like this? How do you pull that toughness out of them, really?
I think it just comes down to a point where you don't want to lose anymore. There's no question that this team has talent. But it comes down to, are we going to keep getting kicked? Are we going to win one game, come back the next game, and just get run out of the building? I think it comes down to looking around at, in their meetings and in the huddle and saying, who's going to step up? And if you're looking at somebody else saying, are they going to step up? Are they going to step up? Maybe you got to take it upon yourself to step up. I remember DeMarcus Cousins always came ready. He was always ready to not only use his body physically, like he could get rebounds. He was physical, but he played tough. He had a mentality that I'm going to go at you. I don't care who you are. I'm going to go at you and score, or I'm going to go at you and defend you in the post and all that. And I think John Wall had the same type of attitude. I even think Brandon Knight the next year had that. I think last year you had a whole team of people like that. And I think that's what this team was lacking, is someone, they were all looking around saying, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And then they'd have games where one guy stepped up, maybe another guy stepped up in the next game. But you haven't had a guy that was super how do I describe it? That was there every game. That was going to give you the hustle like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist did last year, where he may have 4 points, but he changes the game. And I thought last night Nerlens Noel, Kyle Wilcher. I thought Poitras showed up. I thought Archie Goodwin had moments of just greatness, but you saw that toughness, and I think that's what they've been looking for, that leadership, not only because you're talented, but because you have that killer instinct.
They gave out T-shirts last night at Ole Miss and did the whole whiteout thing like they do at every SEC venue. And you've played in all these SEC places, and the crowds are always hostile when Kentucky comes to town. But how is that for a young player getting adjusted to that? Because this team seems like they kind of tiptoed a little bit getting into it. And last night, almost like they were thriving off that crowd.
Absolutely. I think that you can use the crowd to your advantage, especially if you're Kentucky. You almost have to, because they're coming at you night in and night out. No matter where you're at, the fans are showing up. But I think that you need to use it when you have numbers, like on fast breaks. Try to make that good play to stop the crowd, or try to make the right smart play. I think on the road, more than anything, you don't want to try to ride any kind of waves. You just kind of want to stop whenever they're on a run. Like at the end of the game last night, I thought they did a great job of stopping it. They could have stopped it a little earlier, I thought, by making better plays and better decisions. But, if they go on a 4 or 5 point run, get the ball inside, get an easy basket, shut the crowd up. Is what you need to do on the road. And I thought last night they saw that and they understood that. And moving forward, I think that's what they have to do. I think when you look at their fast breaks and their turnovers and dumb decisions, it's usually because they're trying to go 2-on-3. They get in the half court, they go one pass and try to drive to the basket and end up walking or turning it over. I think if they have numbers, they're athletic and they're good and they can make plays. But if they're going to decide to set up the offense, Ryan Harrow needs to set up the offense, pass the ball around, work it like they did last night, get Kyle Wilcher some touches, Nerlens Noel some touches, and honestly play through those guys. That way the guards, it opens up driving lanes for them. And if they decide to go, half-court offense, run it. Don't just one-pass it and then think you can drive, because you can't. Not in the SEC, not in any game, really, in college basketball.
Everybody kind of thought this was a team that could contend for a Final Four at the beginning of the season. Has not looked like it. Got about a minute left. Does last night change your perception? Is this a team that is more of a contender than we thought?
Absolutely. When early in the season, like I just said it a little bit ago, Marcus Teague was terrible early in the season, and people were like, you need, give him time, and then they were mad at him because then it wasn't fast enough for them. But middle of the SEC play is when he really started stepping up, and then you saw what he did in the tournament. I think there's 5 guys on this team that are now starting to see the light, starting to see what, maybe that team last year saw early on, most of them. I think everyone is starting to see that right now, and it is scary. I think what Nerlens Noel did, changing the game, only scoring 2 points, what Kyle Wilcher did, not because of his points, but because of his toughness. I think what Alex Poitras did, having to sit on the bench most of the first half, coming back in and having a huge second half. I thought a lot of guys grew up last night, and that's a bad thing for everybody else in the league.
Mark Krebs, thank you very much. And remember, you can Skype anytime, like throughout the day. We're all here. I mean, somebody will be here to talk to you. We miss
Well, you guys are in my system now, so I'd love to.
We're on your friends. We'll be just calling you up whenever. Thanks again, Mark. Good talking with you, man. Good luck.
No problem. Absolutely. See you guys.